Caner Universe. It's Caner Tip Tuesday, and today, a topic by request, and thank you to those of you in the ACSD groups who have participated in the survey as to what do you want to see more of. And unanimously, it seems like there's a very heavy interest. We get the request all the time as you get deeper into the art. Hey, show us that empty hand translations. The cane and ACSD, I hear so much about the empty hand system. How does that work? So I'm gonna take you back in time and share that. So stick to the very end because I'm gonna show you the range of application in 3 different areas. Before we do that, as always, a warm welcome to those of you faithful followers of the Cane Fist Way. But if you're here for the first time, watching this for the first time, go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you like it so that you don't miss any future content, and hit that little bell icon so that you don't miss anything and you're alerted to it. Tons of exciting information and content here in 2022. And go ahead and avail yourself of the no-cost cane clarity call. What it is, people ask, what do you do? We do this every day. We're on the phone with those individuals who are coming new to the cane culture. You're just discovering this. Maybe you've been following us for a while and you see nothing's going to happen unless you take action and text the letter CCC to 305-745-7839 so we can get on a call with you and do your blueprint, a roadmap, something that you can actually do to get cane trained. We'll answer questions on canes and anything related to the cane culture, but it's going to save you time, funds, and frustration. So the first thing I want to make clear regarding cane and empty hand and the relationship there is that this is something that is not new to ACSD. You dial back 30 years ago when this whole thing started, and from the onset, we understood, and I've always said that if you have a legitimate concern for self-defense and personal safety, you have to have an empty hand skill set. I don't care the tool that you're carrying, but with this in particular, it was not, I tell students today, it wasn't optional. You had to learn the cane application, set your cane down, and then you have the empty hand translation. And of greater content, more content, took longer to master, but totally worth it. Look, the cane-only training is, as of recent, out of necessity. And I get that because people will come in and say, hey, I don't have time. I just need a tool. I need to be able to defend myself with this quickly and effectively. So I just want the cane and go, maybe because you're traveling all the time. And that's fine. If you look at ACSD and you see it as a buffet, you can extract from here. You can take this as you need, but it was always designed with an empty hand translation. And let's take a look at that and how that works. But Kiko, come on in. And let's look at we'll look at it first in striking. Striking remains the most fundamental and easiest on the hierarchy of difficulty and what it requires in coordination. But ACSD is essentially built on a power shot template. Now, I'm not going to go in depth into that power shot template, but those of you that are ACSD students and practitioners, instructors, you understand. So number 1, it looks like this, right? And that number 1, when he does that, the empty hand equivalent, ACSD is a palm heel, hammer fist, clawing system with the empty hand, more so than it is punching. Yes, we do have the vertical strikes and jabbing and crossing and all that, we have it. But think about the average individual civilian who hasn't trained and the hands are not conditioned. You're going to punch a bowling ball now and run the risk of fracturing that hand. So again, if real effective with the empty hand, the clawing motions, the hammer fist. So when he does that number 1, the movement is here. For instance, he does a 2 and he comes up and it's coming up. So let's just look at some of that. If I do with the cane, if I'm in a flow and I do something that looks like, maybe I'm in a reverse grip, which is a very common way of carrying this, and I do something that looks like this. When you see this movement, you say, well, I don't really understand, and that type of striking doesn't look like. Remember, the principle is always the cane teaches the empty hand. So that if we're looking at something like this where he might lunge in with a punch, and I'm just looking, if I do that, the equivalent is going to look like something that looks like this, right? whether it's coming in inverted, but it can also come in here. So it might look here. And when you're striking with the empty hand, the rule with the impact tool with the cane is it seeks bone. That's not the cane here. We're seeking now flesh, because I can go ahead and rake the eyes, but I'm hitting with that palm heel, the trigeminal nerve, and it's this type of movement. Now, ACSD students who have exposed to the empty hand, this is like, this is very common, right? So something that looks like this then comes out, raking to the eyes. Would I rake a man who's wearing glasses? Absolutely. if I need to get out of there. And then that final shot, which comes down here, that hammer fist that can come, well, you decide. The throat is exposed, not necessarily does that mean I'm gonna go ahead and do that, but that nose, right, which is close to the brain, the watery eyes, boom. But look at the biomechanics of that. If I get a cane in here, that's a number one that you're doing here. So it teaches those principles. That's a level of striking. You can teach a whole 3 to 4 day seminar just on the striking. Those of you that are familiar with ACSD form number 1, it's so short, such a short form, can teach a whole 4 day seminar just on that. It's so content rich. The other way, sure. So if he takes, switch canes here, take your 12 strike and defense zone template. Right? Well, you'll see something that looks like this. Right, so this will be your 11, this will be your 12, or this will be your 10, this will be your 11 before you go into 12. What you're doing is, many refer to this as a roof block, but it's not designed for me to do there. As a matter of fact, this is there in the event that I am late in getting out of the way. Ideally, I wouldn't be here for that. But I lift here so that it gives me a way to connect and be able to come in with the strike. Whether it be something that's to the outside on a dead angle, or I am moving in and coming in here and then doing work to the inside. Same thing happens to the outside. It's not designed for you to make contact. Again, this is, I'm human and I might be late, but look how close it keeps me so that I can deflect, connect, and then control, stay close enough to him. Well, the principle transfers over in the empty hand as well. In the empty hand, we know it as a triangle, something that's triangle. When he shoots a straight shot from here, that I can come over. This swivel, you have that cane? Yeah, you see the relationship here, right, of being able to come in with the top of the form. It's so specific, and then be able to go from there. I can do that on other side, but as well, if he's coming in here, to come in, right, step in, I'm in his triangulation point, I'm ready to go ahead and move in there. So you have it in the 12 strike and defense zone template. You have an empty hand translation for that, and just a wealth of application in terms of joint locks and everything else. That would be the third area. So that if I'm dealing with him here, say, man, listen, I don't have a lot of, whoa, he comes in, he's tapping right away. Look at this. See the way we did that? We have more than one finger and it's caught in with that. All I have to do, tap, 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 tap. And then from here, we can go ahead and control and do what it is you're going to do, right? You see the checking hand? Well, it's the same thing with the empty hand. That triangulation point that comes from the shaft of the cane, that's the same thing. Look at the way I have it here now. There's the joint lock. That pinky is right to his center, right? Everything is centered, and it's just a slight raking to the eyes, or stepping in, or doing, or controlling, or whatever it is that you're going to do. It's from day one a thorough system in the empty hand, just as well. And I'll go ahead and I can look at you and tell you it's just as good. And some, and in certain cases, will say, wow, even better, I really like it, just as good as anything out there in terms of empty hand. But you don't hear about it. You don't hear about it enough. But we're listening to you. You want to see more of it, and we will bring it to you. And it all begins. Listen, if you want to learn this hands-on, I'm going to encourage you. Text Fall 2022, which is the cane immersion here in Miami at the headquarters, is going to happen September 20th through the 23rd. I've already gone on record saying, for those of you that are interested in learning, not just the cane, but the cane with the empty hand translation, this is the one you want to attend. This is the one you want to be a part of. And It all begins by getting the information first. We won't just let you in here. We always limit participation. Everybody knows that. It sells well ahead of time, and it has nothing to do with the pandemic. It's just your best learning experience. And go ahead, at the very least, text those letters CCC. Let's get on a phone call, have a conversation, and because there's a step-by-step to this, but you want to get it right from the onset. Watching YouTube video, this is a catalog. This is potential. This is what can happen with training. But you're not going to get trained from watching video without having that, the correctives, the feedback, the support, the accountability. That's where we come in. All right? Thank you always for your enthusiasm. Thank you for your kind feedback. Keep caning. Stay safe.